the down here should be, one should be ground and one should be active. So I got power going to the solenoid on both sides. That's interesting. Morning all, Larry BL here, and you seen in my previous video we had a no start issue with old girl here, and I wanted to explain the you may have seen this little orange indicator light is connected to the solenoid to let me know when the solenoid's engaged, because I have had it stick in the past and that solenoid is actually was buried up under the battery, up under here, and there's no way to get to it. So I relocated it up here so at least I can bang on it to get it to unseize. And that is a new solenoid, but I've had it lock up before, and I wanted to put an indicator light just to tell me when that's energized and when it's not. The other indicator light is actually hooked to the brake lever to tell me when the parking brake's set. Often on these you forget to let that brake off, and it will drive with the brake on, but you'll wear it out. So I added them two indicators. So before we get into troubleshooting and repair on old girl here, I wanted to verify what I was seeing the other day when I was starting it. So I sort of drew up a little diagram and I've duplicated it here on the bench. So basically we have a ground. This is going to be the dash light indicator. I opened up the new solenoid so we can see what's going on. So basically your solenoid, your power from the battery goes directly to one terminal, and the other terminal goes to your starter motor. And then obviously the starter motor comes back to ground. The indicator light is connected to ground. On the solenoid, the coil, one side connects to ground, and the other side is where I have the indicator light. So now when we touch off, this would be the key switch. So now it's cranking the motor, indicator light is lit. You let off and it cuts off the starter motor. So now in the video you see where I put the test light here, and I also got an indication here. So we're going to duplicate that. Okay, so trying to get you in here a little closer. So this is the setup we're using. We got a starter motor, solenoid, battery, dash indicator light, and I've hooked up my test light to ground. So in normal operation, I would probe, got to remember, take that off, probe this coil right here, and when you click the key switch, I get a test light. Now on this side, I should not get a light. So my theory is that the ground on this solenoid is bad. So then when we click the key switch, technically I shouldn't have got that either, but I'd get power here and I'd get power on the other side. So, and I want to verify how I've got that test light hooked up, because it did not light on the dash. So we're going to pull the battery out of old girl and see what we got. So when working with any vehicle battery, you always want to remove the negative side first. Having a go handle on a battery is always a good idea. This is a Continental, was purchased recently. So, and based on the last video, we've seen this battery's got some heft to it. But What we are interested in is this black and white wire. The connections are tight up here, so I'm going to have to trace them out. The black wire should be the ground wire, and the white wire should be going to the key switch. So let me dig into that. Well, it's pretty humid out today. Warm, but we got some moisture in the air and some of it's falling. Well, this turned out a little bit more of a challenge than I thought. I thought I could remove this battery tray, but yeah, that ain't happening. I think I found my rattle when this thing started up. But I pulled the deck off, so maybe I can go from the bottom up. I did find out that my little indicator light is actually connected to the starter. So I'm going to relocate that to the solenoid. So obviously if I'm not getting power to the starter, I'm not going to get a light. But yeah, I'm going to try to go from the bottom up to trace that black wire and do a little rewiring on it. And clean that tray up a little bit. It may get spritzed while it's in there. Anyhow, oh, the other thing, I went out to the shop to get that movers dolly, the other shop, and I smelled real strong gas odor. So somebody is still leaking gas in there. So I'll have to investigate that. So I got up under her and I was tracing the wires out. The white wire is going down to the clutch safety switch, and it was all good. So I reached up around and I was jiggling the black wire to see where it come from. And it was hooked into a terminal right back here, and it pulled right out. So I'm just going to put another connector on that and re-ground it. Not really the greatest weather for painting, but I'm just doing a touch up in and around the battery tray. That always seems like it catches the worst of the rust. So that's the new solenoid. I'm going to put this one away. This is the one out of Old Girl, and I thought I'd do some tests. Now I did change up one thing. This indicator light is actually hooked up to the hot lead on the starter. So this is indicating our starter. So I was just testing this out just to see. So technically, if we lose the ground, I don't get a light either. So it still indicates that if the solenoid sticks, the light stays on. In other words, I got the key on start and I'll let go of the key. If the light stays on, I know the solenoid's stuck. I don't see a problem with this solenoid. So we're going to put that one back in it. So I've got a ground here. And what I'm going to do is just come over on this side, put a terminal on it, and put the ground right there. So yeah, that should solve my problem. And hopefully, I'm still going to clean this up a little bit. I'll get back with you when it's done. Alright, I got everything buttoned back up. It was just a bad ground on the solenoid. Yeah, pulled everything out. I refreshed the paint a little bit, tested the solenoid, and I ran the new ground wire. So the white wire goes down to the foot pedal switch, and then the black wire went to a ground back behind here. And I had to remove the deck to get to it, but when I jiggled that wire, it just came off. So it is now grounded to this stud right here. So yeah, everything's back together. I was going to drain the gas today, but it actually looks pretty good. We're not even going to change that filter, but I still plan on draining it. but not today because we are under a tornado watch. So I'm just going to hang out a little bit and watch the weather. All right, and I guess as a final test, I'm not even going to get on it. I'm just going to push the pedal, pull the choke. We are 100% go. Thanks for watching.